The age of the studio comedy has sadly seemed to pass. After countless great comedies in the 2000s, the 2010s was noticeably short on them, save for a few here and there. But there's one small comedy made by a little-known indie filmmaker that I think has been widely underappreciated, and that's Richard Linklater's 2015 hangout comedy, Everybody Wants Some, and it honestly might be my favorite comedy of the last 10 years. I think it's special and unique in a way comedies and hangout movies rarely seem to be. So today I want to talk about why you should watch this movie.
I feel like the Astros are going to make it to the World Series.
Richard Linklater is one of my favorite working filmmakers, and with even all his success, I feel like he's still underappreciated as well. He became famous for stoner comedies in the 90s like Slacker and Dazed and Confused, the Brilliant Before trilogy, family comedies like School of Rock, and famously Boyhood. Needless to say, he's done a lot and dabbled in a lot of different genres. Then in 2015, he quietly made a spiritual sequel to both Dazed and Confused and Boyhood, with Everybody Wants Some, wanting to make a baseball movie set during college in the 80s, which was based on his own experience. The film opened to universal acclaim, but despite that, it barely made any money at the box office, and nobody seems to really know about it. And I don't know if it was just poor marketing, but I've always found that so strange because this movie is so much fun, and much better than the comedy movies seen in theaters today. Maybe it was just hard to market a hangout movie, I'm not sure. But what is a hangout movie? Hangout movies are kind of just like slice-of-life movies. They're movies with little to no plot where we follow a character or multiple characters around in their day-to-day life. Linklater is no stranger to this style of movie, with Slacker and Dazed and Confused both falling into this category. I've always been a huge fan of them because I think some of the best humor comes from friends just hanging out with one another. These movies are hard to do well because you have to rely on great character writing to drive the story instead of plot, which is why I don't think we see a lot of these movies these days. Whatever the case may be, Everybody Wants Some is some of the best the genre has to offer. In terms of style, this movie is incredibly simple and straightforward, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. Linklater doesn't have a strong visual style, but he's an incredibly efficient filmmaker. He knows when to hold on a wide, how to edit a conversation, how to direct actors, and especially how to manipulate time. Now, if you know Linklater's work, this is most likely pretty obvious to you, but for those who don't, what makes Linklater's films stand out is how he uses time. Both Slacker and Dazed and Confused take place over the course of a day, same with Before Sunrise and Before Midnight. Before Sunset takes place over the course of only 2 hours. And Boyhood, of course, takes place over the course of 12 years. Clearly the guy is interested in the movement of time and how to capture that effectively on film. And for Everybody Wants Some, it takes place over the course of a weekend, the weekend before classes start at a small Texas college. His ability to manipulate time throughout the film grounds it in a very believable reality, and lets us really feel like we're hanging out with this group of guys. The passage of time flows so naturally here. Linklater uses music so effectively here too. There's not only a lot of great needle drops, but the characters talk about music too. The movie even opens on a shot of Jake's tape deck. I love how in the bong scene the guys make a joke about Van Halen being corporate America, but the movie's title is a reference to Van Halen itself. I thought that was pretty clever. And the Pink Floyd song they talk about in the same scene says so much about these guys. Even just watching Nez take a Neil Young album from Jake's room. People tend to define themselves by the music they listen to, and this movie goes through great lengths to show the personalities of these guys. It's so fun to watch Jake and the guys singing Rapper's Delight in the car, but we also get punk, we get disco, we get country, and of course rock and roll. It's a great snapshot of the era. Also, don't miss the end credit scene where the team all does a rap. It's hilarious. I also love the choice to make them a baseball team, because it lends itself perfectly to the hangout movie. It allows these guys to show off their athletic talents, but still able to chat and goof off. I grew up playing baseball myself, and these scenes made me miss it so much. And while we only get to see them during one practice, they really felt like a baseball team off the field too. Linklater does a great job at crafting the dynamics between the team and how the position they play says something about each character.
You're not detecting an anti-pitcher bias around here?
No, man.
No?
No.
I sure as hell am.
Well, let me tell you something, Jake. It is lonely out on the bump, man. You know, and hitters, they got no idea what that's like. They don't know the first thing about it. You know, The most important part of the game, hands down, and yet it is a complete mystery to them.
Now, let's talk about the writing, because it's incredible. Linklater has always been a brilliant writer. I'd say he's probably one of the best writers when it comes to authenticity, and this film is no exception. Every character and every conversation feels so believable and authentic. From the moment Jake arrives at the baseball house to the end of the film, these all felt like real people and real conversations. Just in the mannerisms and the way they talk to each other, all the guys get along so well but have these different inflections and speech patterns and movements that make them feel so three-dimensional. And the actors in this movie are so good. Like I said before, they all feel so real, and that has to be attributed to how everyone feels like they're bringing their A game here. I've always loved how all the guys had such a strong bond with one another, even though some of them had only just met. This movie is like the most ideal friend group. It's so relatable. Being the new guy is so weird, and even though the older guys might tease and haze them, they're accepting of the new guys immediately, and that was such a refreshing change of pace. And of course, it's not like there isn't any drama between the guys. I think the movie does a great job to show how when these guys, especially very competitive guys, get together, they love to mess around, but over time tensions can boil over, and they might take it too far. Like how Finn gets mad at Jake, Dale, and Plummer for embarrassing him in front of a girl, or how McReynolds yells at Jay during practice for being a bad teammate. These men aren't perfect, they have feelings too, and they might cross the line sometimes, but each time they make up quickly because those bonds that friends and teams make are too strong for petty fights. This movie could have easily relied on petty drama, but instead just ignores that and is way better for it. Close friends tend to talk and act kind of similar, and even though you see that here, I love how distinct each character feels, cause it must be hard to write so many characters for such a short movie and make them all feel unique. Buter becomes the rookie scapegoat for being all country and avoiding the team, but even after a little time, he begins to warm up to them, and you can see the good in him. Brum is another clueless rookie, but his goofiness is so charming, you can't help but root for him. Plummer is straight up stupid, but is genuine and hilarious, and probably has the best lines in the whole movie.
Man, you can't even fuck good on a waterbed. It's like having sex with a girl on top of another really fat girl. You know what I mean? Just moving around.
It's honestly hard to talk about because every character is just so great. McReynolds is the perfect leader for the team. Willoughby is the best stoner. I love his delivery in every scene, but this scene especially.
Fucking mahogany rush, man. Oh, I don't want to be presumptuous. I know I only have been here for a few days, but I'm pretty sure that is a new school record.
Bullshit.
Dale and Roper are like the quintessential cool guys in every friend group. Jay is so hilariously annoying as the bad teammate. Des and Kama are just great dumb guys in a friend group, and Finn is fantastic. Every conversation he has when they go out is gold.
Well, now you just plain hurt our feelings. Do you also hate guys that are athletic, intelligent, sometimes endearingly clumsy, or is that just her?
Hey, did you mention Hung?
I did mention Hunk Dale, not yet.
I think what also makes this better is that all these characters interact with one another and don't just stick to one group. You feel like a lot of these guys have known each other for so long and that they have history and distinct personalities. The chemistry is just hard to beat. And I think all these guys should be movie stars, but I get why Glenn Powell and Wyatt Russell have blown up recently because their characters already feel so iconic. The charisma they bring to the screen is really hard to replicate. And Jake is a great main character. In the beginning of the movie, he starts off as the cool rookie, he gets the attention of the girl, he says all the right things. What I love is that throughout the movie though, he gets a little too comfortable and the older guys kind of have to put him in his place. And we see how even though he's chill, he's still the new guy. And that's honestly what makes this movie feel so real. The best examples are when he's pranked in the locker room and you can see the embarrassment written all over him. He's not used to being the butt of a joke. And then later when he tries to be cool by saying the scout isn't real, but the older guys look at him crazy. Those are just the little touches that make this movie so great. I think the most genuine moments, though, come from the conversations between Beverly and Jake. The phone call scene is one of the most realistic things I've ever watched. I felt like I was back in freshman year again. Zoe Dutch as Beverly is actually doing so much here. The slow movements she makes, the little stutters she has, the way she repeats words. I love the way they look at each other when Jake goes to her apartment. The realization that the two have, like, whoa, we actually have to talk to each other. It's genuinely touching, and the way she talks about her passions and interests in the arts really hit for me. These two people with pretty much nothing in common using what they know to relate to one another. I remember being a freshman meeting new people for the first time, and this is exactly what those conversations felt like. This leads to my next point, which is representing different kinds of groups. And what I mean by this is the movie could have easily been about a bunch of macho baseball players making fun of everyone else in school. And while there's a little bit of joking, I think something that stands out is the embrace of the other in this movie. First they're at the disco, in their element. Soon they're at a country bar, then a punk show, and then a theater party, and each time they joke about where they're going, but then they embrace it and have a great time. I think it's a great way to show the depth of these characters and that they're not one-dimensional or bullies. When Jake meets his punk friend Justin, he embraces him with open arms, never even batting an eye at the fact that they're all punks and different. And once he gets his friends on board, they all have a great time. And later we see Justin at the baseball house getting drunk with them, and it just feels so great to just watch these guys have a good time together. And what makes this hangout movie so special is the portrait of male friendship and brotherly love. This is how I feel with my friend group. We just enjoy hanging out and messing with each other. There's no drama, we just want to make each other laugh. And that's what makes it so funny. Not strenuous plot, just guys being dudes. The conversations they have, the pranks they pull, the mischief they get up to. Every Finn and Willoughby monologue had me laughing. Every macho game they played was so funny. And every conversation just had something special to it. So, is this the best hangout movie? Well, maybe. At the very least, it's mine. While I think there's a lot of great ones, including some of Linklater's other movies, I just love watching this group of guys hang out with each other. It reminds me of the best times with my friends, and I think Linklater's writing here is outstanding. I wish we had more comedies like this, just great characters having fun together. I really do think the best humor just comes from guys hanging out with each other. Even Scorsese knows it, just watch Goodfellas or The Wolf of Wall Street. I miss good comedies in theaters, and even though this made very little money at the box office, I think it should be a great blueprint for other comedies in the future. And I have a feeling over time this film will have a cult status just like Dazed and Confused. This really has become a comfort film for me, a warm film that just makes you feel happy, and I think that's something to celebrate.
Fuck! Did you see that? Fucking cat. Cat shouldn't be in fridges.
Hey guys, YouTube here. Thanks for watching. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought of it down below and who your favorite character was. And if there's a movie you think I should talk about next, let me know too. If you want to follow me anywhere, I'll leave that down below. Thanks guys.